As you begin to watch this video, you're going to see just how rich in history the debate and the topics on the Immaculate Conception really go. You'll see numerous quotes, one after another. One even talks about how the Immaculate Conception has been part of church history from the beginning of church history. There's quote after quote, unbroken chains of the Immaculate Conception being talked about, and refuting Keith Truth's video, where he likes to use a Catholic scholar by the name of Ott. I don't think Keith has told you that Ott was very much in favor of the Immaculate Conception. I don't think he's told you that the book that he uses, The Fundamentals of Catholic Dogma, is a book where Ott is actually arguing for traditions of the Catholic Church, both sacred and scripture and oral traditions. That is what his book is about. He's defending the doctrines of the Catholic Church and very much agreed with the Immaculate Conception. But I don't think Keith has taken the time to tell you that yet, that he's reading from a book from a man who actually shoots down the arguments that he's trying to present. And you'll find citations where the Immaculate Conception, where the word conception had been a problem for some people and they had to iron it out, such as like with Clairvaux, when he objected to the church at Lyon having an Immaculate Conception, Feast of the Immaculate Conception, because it had not been defined by the church in Rome. And he wasn't denying the Immaculate Conception. He just didn't think that the church in Lyon should have a feast without it being defined by Rome first. And his problem was with the word conception. Was it conception? Was it active or passive? So he wasn't so much disagreeing with the Immaculate Conception as some people would have you to believe. But anyway, on and on the quotes go about the history of this debate, how long it may have taken. But the final conclusion is that the dogma of the Immaculate Conception was finally accepted by the Church after hundreds and hundreds of years of looking over hundreds and hundreds of manuscripts and what people had to say about it. Before jumping to conclusions that it was true, they made sure that it was true first. As I've said many times, much like the Calvinists who have a 5-point Calvinist and a 4-point Calvinist now. Maybe if they had not jumped to the truth so much, there wouldn't be so many Calvinists running around. They may be like other scholars who have studied the Immaculate Conception and in doing so became Catholics themselves. But anyway, the church is just so rich in history. I'll be quiet now until the end of this video, and when I talk about the Bible aspect of it, and let you read these comments that are being made, and you make up your mind. Was the Immaculate Conception always referred to in the Catholic Church, whether directly or indirectly, or is it just a myth by those who only believe in sola scriptura and have no valid doctrine themselves to stand on? So I'll be quiet for now and let you see all these citations that I have up, and I'll finish with the Bible aspect and refuting what Keith had to say about it at the end of these quotes that I've put up. In my rebuttal to Keith Truth's video in our debate on the Immaculate Conception, this will be my first rebuttal. Let me address the Bible issues first. As far as Genesis 3:15 goes, he and I can sit and trade words back and forth until Jesus comes back, and it's going to boil down to a matter of interpretation. He can quote people, I can quote people. He can come back and quote another person, I can come back and quote another person. He might say it might be he, it might be she, or it might be it. But the bottom line is, it's a matter of interpretation. I agree that changes have been made in the text. Jerome changed it back to he, but he was ordered to do so. He didn't really want to change it back to he because he had she. But that still doesn't change the fact that in the Hebrew language, he is the feminine and masculine in this text and can be used to describe either Mary or Jesus or both. So just by simply saying the word is he there doesn't prove a thing when it can be used in the masculine or the feminine, and it can refer to both of them. Again, it's one of those things that will be a he said, a she said until Jesus comes back, and it's a matter of interpretation, isn't it? As far as the woman in the text being Eve, again, quote anybody you want to. I can quote other people that say it would be Mary. You can quote people that say it would be Eve. You can go back and forth all day long. We won't solve a thing. But the one thing that is clear in the text is that the seed, whoever the seed is going to gain the ultimate victory over sin, and that can only be Jesus Christ. And if Jesus Christ is the seed of this woman, then the woman has to be Mary. It cannot be Eve. Eve did not have Jesus Christ. Now then, let me move on to Luke 1:28, and he mentioned in there Sirach 18:17. In Luke 1:28, the Hebrew word used there, as I pointed out, is ke keratomene. When you look at Sirach 17, it's ke keratomeno. The one in Luke 1:28 is feminine. The one used in Sirach 18:17 is masculine. And while they both can carry the same meaning, the context of the verse is what actually describes it. And in Sirach 18:17, it's used as an adjective there to describe the man as a glorious man. Or you could say the same thing. The tree is big, or the moon is round, or the apple is red. It's an adjective used to describe the person. So it's the context that determines how it's going to be used. And again, it's masculine in Sirach and it's feminine in Luke 1:28. So I don't think Keith quite did his homework on that word to really give us a clear understanding of what the word was. And here is the one thing I want to point out about this that Keith, not being a Catholic, wouldn't understand, and having a biased opinion, probably wouldn't look for the truth anyway, as most Protestants wouldn't. When you use the word ke keratomene in Luke 1:28 to describe the Immaculate Conception, the one thing that Keith does not understand is that doesn't actually describe the Immaculate Conception. It is a verse the Catholic Church uses to arrive at the point that Mary did come without stain of original sin. It only points back to a time in the past when Mary was actually full of grace. The perfect passive participle means it's an ongoing action, but it's something that occurred in the past. That is where the Catholic Church, using sacred tradition and sacred scripture, tries to arrive at when in the past did this occur. When in the past was Mary full of grace? Was it before she was born, after she was born? When did this actually take place? And people want to look at it like, yeah, that's supposed to say Mary was born without sin. The verse doesn't say Mary was born without sin. That is the conclusion the Catholic Church, through church tradition and through sacred scripture, through the years has debated and argued about until it came about on the Immaculate Conception that Mary was born without the stain of original sin. And you need to know, too, I'm approaching this from a Catholic point of view, not a Protestant point of view who only accepts the fallacy of sola scriptura. I'm actually using what should be used, that is sacred scripture and sacred tradition. If you start off with the wrong assumption, you're not going to arrive at the wrong conclusion. That's the bottom line. But the word Immaculate Conception that we use from Luke 1:28 to help describe Mary, the word there does not actually say Mary was born without sin. And I think that you keep on pointing back, well, everybody was born without sin if that word is there in front of their name. Now, it doesn't, through your ignorance of the text there, it only means that at some point in the past, Mary had all this grace in her. She was full of grace at some point in the past. And there's where the Catholic Church then tries to figure out when this actually occurred. And it's not something that they're going to haphazardly jump into, where they have to change it later and be shown to be wrong. But it's kind of like with Calvinists. There's a 5-point Calvinist and a 4-point Calvinist. There are those who believe in 5-point. There are those who believe in 4-point, and the ones with 4-point have a problem over the limited atonement. Maybe if they had waited long enough, there wouldn't be a 4-point Calvinist. If they had taken the time to actually study the Bible, this myth of Calvinism would never have occurred anyway. So they already started arguing over it. The Catholic Church isn't going to make those mistakes from like Calvinists did in the 5-point Calvinist and 4-point Calvinist. They're going to take their time and they're going to get it right, because they're going to announce it as dogma to the Christian world for the faithful to believe, and they're not just going to haphazardly jump into it like some Calvinists might, where they have to change it later to a 4-point, or maybe some Protestants where some 22 to 30,000 churches can't agree on anything, it seems like. The Catholic Church doesn't do those things. They take their time in doing it. So he's very unlearned when it comes to what actually meant by Immaculate Conception, apparently, because keratomene in Luke 1:28 doesn't mean that she was born without sin. It simply means that at some point in the past, Mary achieved grace that is a continuing action. The Church then, through sacred writings and through scriptures, tries to determine when that exactly took place.